cheap ass single stage enamel. Good for me, comes off easy. And no, I didn't put a bunch of dents in that, I was barely packing it. So don't get all excited. I'm gonna try to give you a close-up of what I'm doing here. So I got up right up to this area and with my little screwdriver that's sharpened, and it's kind of wanting to slide up, didn't really want to go underneath it. Well, if you'll take your tool and come right down in next to this, you see how it kind of runs down along here. Well, you run that down that channel inside here, and it'll push it inward. And I'm going to do that and bring you back here in a second because I can't do it with one hand. And it'll actually fold this up, and you can see what I've done grinding. Also, I was going to tell you, you might think, well, a big grinding stone would be better, like on a wheel. No, this is like a 1/16 of an inch, and it's sharp, and it really does a good job. I tried to use that big one, and it just is not doing it. That's more for grinding welds down and stuff. It's not good for this, at least in my opinion. The sharp one, man, it makes quick work of it. So just a heads up. I'll bring it back. Now here, as you can see, I've run that screwdriver right up in there. Now just driving it down. And you can watch. See how that's peeling up? See that? Now I can come right back under here and just peel that right up. So that kind of give you do the same thing all the way down through there. Because if you just try to get under this, sometimes you can't. That actually wads that metal up to where you can get underneath it. It. She's got a couple more here to get. She's done. That's both sides. That's all of it. Then I can fit my top on. Alright, that's what we ended up with. You can see my little grind marks. We got a little rambunctious right in there. That's okay. We got a welder. But for the most part, it's not coming through, and the only reason you might be thinking, or you might say, hey, why are you not using a bit like this? Well, here's the deal with these bits. It's a self-starting bit, and you can see the tip maybe if it'll focus in on that. And what happens is that barely comes through. Well, I don't really want it to come through. So as I'm going through here, and if you get overzealous like I did on a couple of these, you can go all the way through. Well, that's just another big hole you got to weld up. So for me, this was the better way. Now, that's just for me. That may not be for everyone. Somebody else may have a lot better way. But this seemed to work pretty good, pretty quick, pretty painless. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. If you ever decide to take your top off, ladies, take your top off, and this is probably the way you want to do it. So, there you go. So now all I gotta do is sandblast all that junk out of there and the rust and all that, and clean all this paint, which clearly is not going to be an issue because it just peels right off in chunks. But I'm going to fit my roof on just for shits and gigs, just because I can. I'm kind of that guy. I like to see how things are going to fit, and it's like opening a new toy and putting it together. It's kind of like when you used to build models when you were a kid. You want to put the body on and kind of look at it before you ever got to start putting it together. You know, put the wheels under it and kind of look at it, even make it make it a slammed model looking thing, you know, tucked up underneath, or at least I did. Maybe I'm weird, but I did all stuff like that. All right, try to do that kind of stuff to the little models back when I was a kid. So I weld that up because it got a little aggressive, but no biggie. Cleaned up, ready to drop this thing on. We'll see how that turns out. Oh yeah, I got these little button head. I think I might have showed you guys those versus the ones that stand up a little taller. That way when I put this on, hopefully that will lay a little more flush to this. Not that that's a big deal, but these weren't very expensive, so I thought, well, it's a little flatter than the other ones. Not a lot, not by much, but they are, and they're rounded. So I'm gonna stick 3 more on the other side because I still have the other ones in those. But you can buy those, you can pick those up. I got them on eBay. Oh man, like 100 of them for like $8. So I mean, that's enough to do a ton of stuff. So, but these are the ones I had. And they just stick up a little higher, so I like the little round heads for these. So the rest of them, not a big deal, but at least for this, I thought, and I could be wrong. We'll find out here in a few minutes when I put this back on to see if that's gonna would have held that up. So we'll see. All right, we got her sitting on there. First of all, I'm gonna say thank God for aftermarket parts, because I sure as hell couldn't make that roof. So with that said, now I'm gonna bitch about it. This is the first time I took this out of the box. I actually looked in the box. It looked pretty good, but I never took it completely out and the whole thing back when I got it. But I don't think it would have changed anything. I would have accepted it anyway. But we're gonna look at the good side first. Now if you look down through here, it's really nice and smooth, looks pretty good. I mean, it's not perfectly straight, but it's pretty good. The rest of the top I'm real happy with. Everything else is, I mean, there's no dents or nothing. Looks good. The E-coat looks a little stupid, like it's smooth here and then it's all like dry sprayed over through there, but we're obviously gonna pull that completely off. These little tabs, I'm gonna have to guess what those are for. Those have got to be cut off, but I'm guessing they must have hung this by those tabs when they E-coated this, and that's basically what those are for. So now in my head I'm thinking, what would be easier for me to do at this point, because it's not that easy to get up on top of this car or stand up on it, you know, deal and strip all this down and, you know, take the E-coat off of it and all that stuff with you know, DA or something like that, versus being able to set it over here on the table, strip it, hang it by these little hangers like they probably did in Taiwan, you know, up there off my deal, and then epoxy it, you know, with a couple good coats, and leave this, you know, bare so that I can come back and weld to that. But the rest of it, you know, all in the center, all that's going to be untouched. So I'm thinking about that. It's something I'm kicking around. I mean, nothing set in stone. But let's go to the other side. And again, this is just sitting on there. That can't drop in there because those tabs. This side doesn't have those tabs, which again makes me think that that's why that was the way it was. But if you look down the side of this, my glasses are really dirty and I can't even see what you're seeing, but it is just lumpy as hell. There's a good one here. Here, hold on a second. Clean these glasses so I can see what I'm talking about. Maybe that'll help. So you get the light right, you see that? That's just a big old dent, and it's out. It's not in, it's out. But down this whole side, it's just lumpy. If I can get the light to follow that right. See that? See that? Whoop. And then right as we get up to here, look at that thing. It just completely dives in. I don't know if somebody dropped it on this end and it caused it to kick in that way. And that should be pretty rigid because they B-rolled this or pressed it, however they do that. That should give it strength. But obviously it wasn't enough to keep that big ass dent out of there. And you can see where it starts here, right where the light comes. It comes right into here. So I'm gonna have to fix that, work that out. Now that's not terrible. I mean, that's, like I said, if I'd have found that in the box, I'd probably just said fine, because you never know what you're gonna get with the next one. Hell, the next one may have the whole corner bent up, you know. But I'm gonna have to body work this down, down, and then out. Which, like I said, is no big deal, but it just adds to the workload of everything else you got going on. You know, the little stuff starts adding up. But there it is. Like I said, I can't pop it down in there yet. I'll probably have to trim that just a little bit. Those edges are a little bit big. I can kind of get it, but I'm gonna have to squash it in there, and these will probably need to be trimmed down just a little bit before they'll drop in. It's starting to drop in up here, which is good, but you can see here how that'll fit. That'll come down here, and then that edge will weld to this and then ground down, and it'll be leaded in that seam. Another thing I noticed from the factory, this right here, again, I don't know what it's focusing on. Stop focusing on other shit. It just don't know what to do with itself. There. So that stuff right there, that is a seam sealer. And there's just a little glob right in these corners. So I'm guessing because that's a seam, they went ahead and seam sealed that underneath there. And I'm going to say they did it before they dropped the top on, which would make sense. Because otherwise, I mean, I guess you could once the top's on, because that's just welded to that, and you could kind of squirt it up in there, but it looks like it went up underneath that whole seam. So I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud is all I'm doing. Some guys like it, some guys probably could leave it. So yep, there's another right there. I can't even see it, but I can feel it. What the hell? Right through there. Yep. Right in here somewhere. The light ought to be bending that. Maybe a little bit. On what it is. Just a little lump right through there. I can feel it. We'll fix that too, because that's what we do, right? Overall, now that I'm finished pissing and moaning, I'm happy with it. I mean, could have been way worse, right? Gotta look at the positive side. It's better than a sharp stick in the eye, right? All right, well, that's probably gonna be it for today. That stuff up there on top's glue where they put the packing stuff. If you see the little white areas up there, that's what that is, just glue that needs to be cleaned off. But yeah, that's it. So yeah, I don't know. Tell me what you think about the idea of going ahead and stripping this inside and out and epoxy priming it while it's off the car versus, and yes, I'm going to take it on and off, but I don't see any reason for any of that to be touched by anything or anything underneath to really be an issue, because those braces don't even touch the roof panel. It only touches on the outside edges out here. So, and those won't have any epoxy on those. I learned my lesson. Don't weld around epoxy, period. If I can tell you anything that I've learned lately, epoxy and welding do not mix. It's going to contaminate your weld. It's going to be horrible. because when we did it to Ross's truck, everywhere there's epoxy even close, it just gets ugly. It's just ugly. So yeah, mask back a ways, epoxy, then come back in with your weld through or whatever you're going to do under there, because you don't want, at one point I thought maybe you could weld through epoxy. No, that was just freaking stupid. Don't even think about it. That's a terrible idea. So my 2 cents to you guys, take it or leave it. I think that's going to be just fine. That probably needs to go forward a little bit more too, and that's going to have to pull down, so that'll come down tight. So yeah, I'm going to have to do a little trimming on this thing here, which is good. I'd rather it be a little bit fat than a little bit, shy. That'll go in there like that. I may be even be able to finesse that in there, but I guarantee you when I push that down in there, it's going to be a bitch to pull it back out. So I think I'll refrain from that for now. I just want to set it on there and kind of see what it looked like and see the condition of that and that. But and you can see how it kicks up. All right, you guys have a good evening. Will I be out here tomorrow? Will I? Maybe. If you're lucky, you'll get to see me tomorrow. If not, then you'll just have to wait. I know it's grievous, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? See ya.